On air. Let's see if it works. I don't know. I think it's working. Oh my goodness, how exciting. We're doing the thing. It didn't break. Oh, that's very fun. Okay, cool. I'm very excited about this. um, well, we're just going to give people time to join the feed because this is the first live stream I'm doing on YouTube. So, oh, and if you hear Tuna in the background, I apologize or not. She likes to run the space. But thanks everybody who's joining. Hopefully you see the live chat there on the side. This is the first Vintage on Tap live stream. And as the title says, let's see if it works out. So this is my first experiment here on YouTube doing this sort of thing. I'm very used to doing lives on Instagram and, you know, doing the conversations there, but I realized like, hey, I don't have those conversations with anybody here on YouTube, and I really want to start making it a regular thing, you know, showing up, chatting sewing, chatting what I'm working on, kind of showing a little bit more behind the scenes stuff. And I figured what time as ever is a Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening here in San Francisco, and chatting it up. So definitely leave some stuff down in the comments so that I can shout you out as you're leaving comments. But I do have some prepared stuff. I got my notes ready to go for things to talk about if there was nobody on this feed. So I'm just happy that y'all are showing up. So thank you so much for supporting and for clicking the little button. All right, so why did I want to do live streams? And Jose showing up with wine. Thank you, Jose. Yay. So wanted to experiment with live feeds because I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of like real-time sewing conversations that we could have, whether I'm like hemming something or I don't know, sewing buttons on. I feel like those are like really nice opportunities to have conversations, ask, you know, answer like regular sewing questions that people are having in a way that's a little less structured than the way that the videos normally roll, right? So those videos are usually very pre-planned, like they're very well thought out, and they're very like cut and dry and to the point. So when I talk with friends, when I talk with family, when I talk with Jose about it, he's like, you come off very stiff. It's like, I don't mean to come off as stiff. So this is kind of a way to be a little bit more organic, talk about sewing in a way that's a little bit more natural for me, and, you know, show a little bit more of my personality so I don't look so robotic. And I'm sure my brother seeing me do the robot on camera is not going to make him happy. Shout out to Ryan. But so as for one-on-one connections, you know, I have those conversations a lot on Instagram. I have them a lot with people who send me like, you know, emails and things like this, but being able to like shout you out in the chat box and recognize names and like that, all that stuff is really important to me because, you know, YouTube is like a huge, gigantic hole of people, and actually being able to recognize people who sew online and like recognize your name and recognize your projects and these sort of things are like important to me because it's a community. Like there's a huge sewing community and there's so many niches in sewing, and I know that even the people who follow this channel, everybody matters, everybody's projects matter, and everybody's projects deserve to be seen. So it was just another reason why I wanted to start doing these lives. And then again, just testing the waters, testing the appetite, seeing if doing like maybe a weekly live or maybe a few times a month or something, you know, trying to figure out what would make sense. Just having these casual conversations and just getting to know people via live. So kind of excited about doing this. I figured if nobody showed up, I would talk about what I have planned for my channel, especially as we've relaunched after 2 years not doing videos, and then kind of what I'm thinking in the future. So, oh, hey, Liz, how's it going? So what do I have planned for the channel? Sneak preview here on the side. Video coming soon. Definitely more sewing, obviously, but more more storytelling around sewing, like why, how, and not the specific mechanics all the time. I think the mechanical processes will still be there, the techniques will still be there, but kind of showing a little bit more of why you should take particular steps in a project, or why you should consider certain processes first before jumping the gun and cutting right into your fabric. So, you know, being able to tell the full story rather than just the mechanical process. So that's a big one. And actually it's been a little bit of a challenge kind of setting myself into that mindset, because we did it so differently for so long. Hello, Alfreda. Hello, Charity. Thanks so much for joining. Also, so previously we would do things very, you know, it's like, we're going to show how to do a bound buttonhole, and we're going to do it this way, and we're only going to talk about that, and this is going to be the only thing. And we realized that the channel was suffering in two different ways as a result. In one way, we were burning ourselves out doing these style of videos, because it was just a lot. It was a lot of work, a lot of prep work, and a lot of editing and things like this. On the flip side, it also was pigeonholing us into a certain way. So, you know, being able to tell like a full story was not something that was possible in that old style. So we want to be able to bring a little bit more of that storytelling into the newer videos. Kind of, I think a lot of people cracked up over that spring fabrics video that I did, where it had the little skit at the beginning. And that was literally just me messing around and saying, you know what would be fun is if we did this. And obviously Jose stood there with his arms crossed, just looking at me like, what? But then we did it, and it was fun, and we added music to it, and it was just, I wish actually we probably have like the collection of all those clips of me doing like that jump and my slippers flying in every direction. So even though that was like a little fun, weird thing in that video, being able to bring those into, organically obviously, but like being able to bring those things into the rest of the videos, whether we are talking about doing like a, I don't know, why do your notches not line up on a pattern, you know, in that still bringing a little bit of personality and still bringing a little bit more fun into it. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then also showing kind of experiments. I think with this one here, that's a sneak preview, it was a little bit of a journey, and showing more of the real life journey that goes into making a garment, right? It's like, it's very rarely like, here's this fabric, here's this pattern, bam, and suddenly magic, it's great. There's ups and downs with every single project, even for me who's been sewing for a really long time. And having the opportunity to talk about the ups and downs, having the opportunity to show you like, yo, there are moments where I am yelling at the machine. That is very real. There are moments where Jose walks by and he's like, what are you working on? I'm like, well, I've been doing this same part on this garment like 5 times. And that is very real for a lot of you who are watching, and for watching in the future. Like, I'm sure everybody has that moment when they're staring at their machine and just want to throw it out the window. So you'll get to see my moments of that, just to make it a little bit more real. Like, I've messed up a bunch of garments, and sharing those experiences with you and how I've come to the way that I sew today, I think it'll be really, really interesting for everybody to see. But we have been on, so we have here a shout out. Jassy, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, from Australia. Good morning, good morning. Thanks so much for tuning in. So I'm bringing my phone over because I asked over on Instagram if anybody had any AMA, like, or any questions that they wanted to ask, because obviously I didn't know if anybody was going to join today. So I have some questions here that people have asked just in case, so that I can talk just sewing. So first things first, I shouted out my brother, but he literally just left me a hi. So hi Ryan, I hope you're watching. But the questions. So first one is from Allison. What is the best way to hem a dress evenly with no figure form? It's the biggest pain. So this one is obviously a lot of people experience this one, and so do I, even though I do have the dress form, because I don't use a dress form for hemming usually. and Jose's not particularly helpful in helping. He's over there just smirking. It's true. So usually what I end up doing is a combination of like eyeballing it and some measuring. So what I'll usually do is try on whatever it is that I'm trying to hem and do the full twirl in the mirror. So you can usually tell right off the bat what side of the dress has like hung a little bit lower than the other. It's funny because it's not like, oh, it's just a little bit. It's like obvious for some of the stuff that I've made. So it'll be like the back side that is completely like 4 inches lower than the front. But what I'll do is I'll look in the mirror and just kind of see, okay, this side is sagging more than the other. And then what I'll do is just generally eyeball it. I'll like roll up or fold up however much. So it's like maybe on the front side I'll do like 2 inches fold, and on the back side I'll do 4 inches fold. Pin it all the way around and then go back to the mirror and kind of go from there. And from there it's like, oh, okay, well I overdid it on the back. Let's, you know, take out another inch and try it again. So I'll do that a few times. And then from there, just to make sure that I'm like not completely off base, I will give it like a light steam, not like a hard press, but like a light steam just so that it lays down a little bit more naturally. It doesn't look, you know, it's not like all puffy and folded up. And then again, go back to the mirror and double check. And then at that point, after I've steamed it and I'm like, cool, this looks pretty good, I go ahead and proceed. So that's how I've done it for a long time, because if Jose's not here and like I don't trust the dress form because my butt's big and the dress form's butt is not big, you know, it's served me well and I've gotten a lot of mileage. And to be honest, like even if you're only like half an inch off on one side versus another, when you're walking, when you're moving around, you're really not going to be able to tell. So you just want to get in the general ballpark, especially since it has hung a little bit differently as a result. So that's usually how I roll on that. All right. So question from Laura. How did you decide on your sewing machine? So the machine that I have right now is on the floor. It's a, I don't even know how to pronounce the name, Husqvarna Viking. So I got it at Joann's on a Black Friday sale, and I'd been eyeing it for a while, and the thing that attracted me the most about it was just how sleek and cool it looked. It was literally an aesthetic choice for me, and the fact that I really just needed a new machine that was more modern. I'd been going through so many, well, all my machines previously had either been super cheap or had been older. And I'm not even going to say vintage, I'm going to say older, so like 90s. But obviously they all got me super far. I mean, you've all seen them here on the channel in previous videos. Even the vintage machine that I had redone, like, and cleaned up and got up and running was, even that was not that great, to be honest. I don't have that machine anymore. Even though it was like a really fun experience to redo the whole thing, it was not giving me the stitch quality that I needed. So I wanted something that was more serviceable. I wanted something that I'd read good reviews about, so I did a lot of research on reviews, and I think Tuna is going to be jumping up on stage. This wine is not for you, Tuna. So those were the two big ones, and then obviously the aesthetic thing. I'm like, oh, it's a beautiful machine. So that's kind of where my mind went. I know that there are a lot of really great, more expensive Highline machines, but at this point, I don't want to invest in those because I don't need it. I just need the straight stitch to be really good. I need the back stitch to be solid. I need to be able to have like stretch stitch and like not have any problems with that. So as long as those ones were fine and the machine was serviceable, I went with it. And then obviously it looks good. All right, and then the last question that we got, since I put this poll up super late, was from Liz. Do you have a stretch challenging sewing goal this year? Example is jeans for me. So stretch goal for sewing is a good question. To be honest, no. Not because I don't want to tackle complicated projects. I don't perceive it. I don't perceive my sewing in terms of like, I want to go with the more complicated, because if I were to go into the more complicated, I would be probably pushing myself to make like corsets or tailored jackets. But in reality, those are things that I don't need in my wardrobe. What I need right now is basics. What I need right now is capsule wardrobes, which are in a future video preview. So I just need things that I can wear every day or when I'm working from home and that sort of thing. So I guess my stretch would be to be able to make multiple capsule wardrobes throughout the year, like a spring one, a summer one, fall, etc. And that way I don't end up in the situation where I'm in right now, wearing a lot of ready to wear clothing, which, I mean, this is fine. This is a nice top and it's comfortable, but like at this point I'm trying to fill my wardrobe with ready to wear because I pigeonholed myself into a corner thinking, I don't need to buy clothes, I can just make it. And then I wasn't sewing fast enough. And then I ran out of clothes and things aren't fitting right because gained a little weight. So I don't want to have that situation anymore. So my stretch goal would be to create these little mini wardrobes. But those are all the questions that I had from Instagram that people have sent. I'm seeing comments here from Patrice. Hello, welcome, and Carolyn, thank you so much from San Rafael, not too far from me. But I guess that's it. I just wanted to test this out. I'm not intimidated by this anymore, so you may see me more often here on streams. I'll put up a poll in the little community section to see what day might work, what time might work, what sort of things y'all might want to see. I'm trying to figure out how it would be to set up like maybe 2 cameras so that I can talk with y'all this way, and then maybe I'll be like hand sewing something on the side and like working on a project with you. I think it would be pretty cool to have like maybe like an hour once a week or once every couple weeks where we just kind of all chime in and, you know, work on a project together, whether it's like knitting or embroidery or whatever it is that you're working on at the time. I just would really love to be able to cultivate like this sort of community feeling when we're doing these live feeds. But I can't even go into my little sign off, right, Jose? All the people already subscribed. It honestly, it's funny because my friends and family make fun of me about that sign off. They're like, we'll be out and it's like, oh, and it's like, yeah, I know. I have it memorized and it's so awful. All right, y'all. I'll catch you on the next live feed then. And let's see if I can figure out how to stop this. Bye. And let's see here, end.